Hello everybody, ZephyrianNick here yet again. Welcome back to more SimCity. As promised in the last episode, this is the 50th episode of this series. My most popular series by far in this channel. And by far the series I've seen the most growth because of, as well as this train stays on the hill before I have the game paused. We're going to go through some of these cities that we have built so far. We're going to start over with Blue Bryn because we're in Blue Bryn right now. Really. This, as you guys have known, especially anyone who's been following recently, because I started this a few episodes ago, Blue Bryn is the third city we have made in this region. I originally wanted to call the entire region Bean Nation, but I'll explain why once we get over to the city of Bean Nation. That wasn't the case. Now, this city, I know you guys have probably been able to tell by this, but this is the most enjoyable city I've had since the early days of Bean Nation. Because in the early days of Bean Nation, there was this awesome plan. I was full of wanting to build things out. Nothing was really going poorly for a very long time. And then after that, we went over to Midgar, which you've all been aware of the struggles over there. And I'll explain, for those of you that are new, I'll explain the struggles once we get over to Midgar itself and what it was named after. And then all of a sudden we have Blue Bryn. And the most difficult thing about this city was finding a name. It really was. We might have to find creative ways to build some more tunnels, possibly, to help people get from one side to the other a bit easier. I'm not really sure, but I do very much enjoy Livid Tunnels, named after, of course, the person who comments my stuff the most, Livid Gentleman. We also named the tower over in Midgar after him, the Mega Tower, although this seems to be much more efficient than, Livid Towers was. Livid Towers is fairly inefficient. But anyway, let me save here yet again, because I save in between episodes. I completely forgot to this time. And then I will. That's the wrong button entirely. We'll go over here. You guys will be able to see Bean Nation, the very first city that was founded in this world, which was honestly the first real stint I've had of playing this particular SimCity. I played SimCity 4 slightly before this to get the feel of SimCity, and I don't know, I guess I was overwhelmed by it at the very first glimpse, the very first time. I played for a couple hours and didn't touch it for a very long time, up until quite recently as a matter of fact. And then found SimCity through Sips' series. I knew SimCity was a thing, but his series actually made it look incredibly entertaining. Even with all the faults that this game has, it is very entertaining. Unskilled workers, that's part of it. We've actually got a very high education level here. It's almost maxed, and they're saying that they can't find skilled workers. That's partially because as time goes on, the skilled workers replace the non-skilled workers. But anyway, that's not the point. As you can see, this is before I realized just how to actually draw straight roads. So pretty much this entire city is built on a slant, and I started building it off a grid system, which it's very efficient, but it also generates a lot of traffic problems. I think that's a garbage dump. That's not train station. That's down. Bus station. That's down here. We've got 2 of them, I believe, and 81,000 people. Over half the people in the city ride on this, and it's got a 30-minute wait. The second one is over here by the schools. This city, where it gets all of its money from, as you can see, it's losing $15,000 per hour. That is from the education. Education and the police, because there's a lot of crime in this city. There really is. Police precinct. Ludicrously expensive. It's insane. I tried turning that off, and these cells filled up in about 10 minutes. Really. Yet, previously before then, this had 2 people in it, and this had 0. And it had been like that for a few hours. This entire city, the fires are put out by this one fire station with 3 trucks, and oh man, I think I have a second one somewhere. Don't I? Yeah, I've got a second one right here. It has 1 truck. There's very few trucks in the city, and to be fair, I'm very surprised we don't have a worse fire problem. That's mostly because all the Sims are educated here. This city, I try to focus on being a very, very balanced city that has some of everything, dabbles in some specialization, as well as having education and a bit of an industrial district, high, low, and medium wealth. Over here is low wealth. Mostly medium wealth is this city. And then a small, very small high wealth section up in this part, which I like. I like this section. I wish it wasn't so gridlocked, though. That was mostly my own fault. We've got to make all the city, and to make the city, to make all the money in the city, we make processors. We gather all of the plastics, the recyclables, via this monstrash, all this, bring it to this monstrosity, and they turn that into alloy and plastics. Which, if I need to, I have these trade depots so I can import stuff if I ever start running low on resources, because I do occasionally. Like, I'm pretty low on alloy right now. They ship it from there over to the processor factories that say they're, for whatever damn reason, out of plastic when there's plenty of plastic over there. There's a second one right here, which isn't maxed out because it can't be, because I can't fit anything more over here without destroying something. I don't want to do that. We have the fish-shaped government building, which is a complete accident at first. In total, throughout every city in this region, we have every single department we can get. So we don't need to upgrade the one over in Bluebryn ever. At all. That will be perfectly fine how it is for all of eternity. For it's all region-based, you have one in a city. It affects every city in the region. Now, the reason this is named Bean Nation is a reference to when I was still running my Binding of Isaac series, which I've canceled due to, reasons I'll explain later in a different video. And I got the Bean one episode, and I was just making fun of it the entire time and saying, oh, Bean is our Lord and Savior. So that was just kind of been a running inside joke I've had on this, which is now outside, before I just told you guys. Well, to be fair, if you've been watching for a while, you've probably known that. But still. I want to name the entire nation, like this region after that, but I goofed and named it the city this. So the city is called Bean Nation. And that's about all there is to that story. I've had 2 natural disasters here. The only disasters I've had while playing this game. One was located on the processor factory, the episode after I made the processor factory. For you guys, that was about 24 hours. For me, that was about 5 minutes. And I almost threw my water bottle through my monitor. I was very, very salty over that. It didn't somehow affect the sewage treatment plant. Or actually, no, I didn't have those there at the time. Yeah, they weren't there at the time. That was back when the city was fairly small compared to what it is now. I had one recently where it destroyed the Wayside High School, which I named after a cartoon I used to watch as a kid that had a really wonky high school that just went vertical. Loved the cartoon when I was younger. It also damaged the shuttle bus depot, but I fixed that. Apparently, I didn't. Apparently, I completely forgot to fix that problem, actually. Let me actually replace these real quick. I thought I fixed that. Well, okay, then I goofed up on that. Anyway, I was idling here when that happened, trying to gain money to send over to, Bluebryn. I'm gonna get that confused all the time. And also destroyed the electronics HQ, a public library I had here, which is why there's no one there. It damaged the grade school, destroyed these buildings, destroyed some of these buildings, destroyed parks. It was pretty bad. Didn't affect the recycling center, thankfully. That would have been pretty bad. That would have actually destroyed the city. Would have brought it to its knees. The second city, which is the final one we will visit today, is Midgar. Midgar, you guys, if you've been playing games for a very long time, like I have, and I can imagine a lot of you watching this have, you might recognize the name. And if you do, it's because you're probably correct. It is the city that you start the game in, and is one of the, more critical storyline parts to Final Fantasy VII. One of my all-time, if not my all-time, favorite game. Love that game. I put so many hours into that, and I could actually probably reopen this train station now. There we go. Put a ridiculous amount of time into that game. Loved it. Replaying it now. Still loving it. It's got a lot of problems to it, but still. Anyway, this city was not designed for efficiency. This city was designed to be a dirty cash grab. Basically, that's what Midgar is in Final Fantasy VII. It's a dirty city that makes a ton of money that is run by a very scummy group of people known as the Shinra. One of the first buildings I placed was this tower that I named Livid Tower. This tower has been a pain in the ass for pretty much ever because it's never worked properly. It's always had some sort of problem. We have had so many ups and downs in this city, from making it based largely off of oil, which eventually will dry up, to putting in the oil refinery, which is really what's keeping the city alive, to be frank, and Omega Coat, which has been a perpetual up and down journey all the time. We would go from making 20 grand an hour to losing 10 grand an hour, and then back up to 5 and down to negative 15, and it's just so up and down. We had to use so many cash infusions from Bean Nation. But for the time being, and even when these dry up, I can just import fuel. we're pretty stable right now. I feel we've over $1 million. Not all of that was sent over here from Midgar. Some of it was. I mean, Bean Nation. Not a lot, but a little bit. Got a lot of streetcars that don't get used a ton. They get used enough to warrant having them because a tenth of the population uses them. I mean, that's still pretty good. But this city has really shown how salty I can be toward games, because this city has been a perpetual pain in the ass the entire time I've played on this game, this series, and been in here. It's been a pain. I think we were here for not terribly long. We were here for maybe about 14 or 15 episodes. It was about 2 recording sessions I spent in Bean Nation. The rest, I mean, not Bean Nation, Midgar. The rest were in Midgar, and I've obviously only done the most recent 7 episodes in here. I know it's 7 because I record these in blocks of 7 and record them, upload them over the week. With my college schedule, it's a bit easier to do that. Do it that way. I would love to record and upload in the same day, but unfortunately, I can't do that. Blue Bryn is also partially a reference to a book series, apart from just being named after random shit in my room. It's partially a reference to a book series I read that was Bryn Blue, Blue Bryn, Brindle Blue, something like that. I can't actually remember the name for it. I read it in high school and thoroughly enjoyed it. Very, very cliched book series, but it was still pretty good. And that's led us to here, which is going to be a tourism city, which will be the final city in this series, I'm thinking. This will probably last. We're definitely going to go past this episode. This is most certainly not the final episode. I think this city will probably last us to about 60 or so. Beyond that, I don't know. I might decide to create another city. I really have no idea. But either way, we're here now. We're going to be here for the foreseeable future. And yeah, that is the entire region to date. Thank you guys for watching this episode. That will be the end of it. And thank you for all the support the series has gotten so far, too. It really makes the series that much more fun to record when I know it's being received. Whether it's poorly or well received, it's being received. And that just makes this more worthwhile. Otherwise, I would just be sitting here doing nothing other than playing. I think it's kind of boring after a while. It really does. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. I appreciate all the support. I really do. I'll see you guys next time.